everybody, this is Chris. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a reverse image using stamps. So this is not a brand new idea, and the technique comes from different techniques I've seen online or sometimes also in Pinterest. And I really wanted to show you two of the techniques that worked really well for me. It needs to play a little bit to, get used to it. And you'll tell me in the comments which one of the two techniques I'm going to show you today, which one you prefer and the one you feel more comfortable. So the first technique we're going to use to make these reversed images like these, and this is why we need to do reverse images. Like for example, here I have a bicycle. If you don't use any kind of technique, and if you want just to stamp your stamp on the other side, it's just not going to work. As you see here, the little basket is not facing the right way. So we need to have some kind of technique to do the shadow, some kind of a shadow. Just imagine there's water here. What I'm going to use here, I'm going to use the same stamp, and I'm going to use my tree here because I think it's a nice way to show you. So the first image, I'm using Distress ink, and I would consider using Memento because Memento is a better ink for stamping than Distress because you don't have that much details with Distress inks. I'm going to come a little closer and zoom in. So my first image is going to be here, and I always, stamp and leave some time to my ink to really get into the paper. All right, so that's my first image. And now with my first technique, what I'm going to use is a plastic sheet. So these are, normal plastic sheets that you can find anywhere where you can buy paper. And it's for covering, it's covers, it's acetate, whatever. It comes in different words, but don't use some very flimsy plastic, but you need to use plastic, a non-porous surface. So you don't use, with this technique, you need to do some kind of water-based inks like Memento, like Distress inks. Don't use the inks that are going to stick to the plastic because it won't work. We need to make a transfer, to do a transfer onto the paper. The StazOn would not work, for example, unless maybe you work really quickly. So now I'm inking up my stamp again with the same ink, of course. And if you use this kind of plastic, there's a shiny part and there's a none on the other side. It's not as smooth. Use the very slick part. And it makes things a little bit more complicated because it's going to be very slippery, but on the other side, it's not going to work as well. So, when you put your stamp down, make sure to not move your stamp at all because it's very slippery, like I said, and with the ink, you tend to move just a little bit and it's going to make your image blurry. So again, I'm trying to transfer really well on my ink onto my plastic sheet. Right. So right now my image is quite good. I'm going to flip it over, put it underneath my other tree, and again, make sure that you're not going to move when you do this. Put it down. Don't move. Take your time. And then you're not going to rub. I don't like to rub right now. I'm just going to take my finger like this and press down. It's going to help your image to be nice and crisp. If you start rubbing with this technique, and if you just move a little bit, it's not going to work. So first do that. And maybe later on you can start doing what I'm doing right now. Press well. You don't have to press really hard. It's just going to transfer. The ink is going to transfer onto your paper. And take it away. So now here is my image. I think you're going to see it better this way. So as you can see, my image here is a little bit lighter than the first one because there's still a little bit of ink onto my plastic sheet, and that's kind of normal. But also what is normal is that in real life, when you look at the reflection of a tree in the water, usually it's not as crisp because it's water and it's usually moving a little bit. You've got tiny waves on top. So the image is not going to be as crisp. So it's going to be, for me, even more natural. And here I'm using black, but you could use any kind of color. It would work the same. And now I'm going to show you the second technique, which is not that bad at all. I used to prefer the first technique, but now I think I'm maybe going to change my mind. But you tell me in the comments below which technique, after playing with this, which one you like best. What I like with this technique is that as soon as I'm done, because I've used the sunny side up, the shiny side up, I can take just a rag here. And if you need to, you can add a little bit of water, but you can take all the ink out and you can reuse the same plastic over and over again. Okay? Oops, I did that on the wrong side. Anyway, you can use it over and over again. So there's no waste here. There's going to be more waste if we're going to use the wrapping paper, and it needs to be translucent to see what you're doing. So that's the packaging tape. So let me take a little bit of that piece off. And as you can see here, the tape is smaller than my tree. So I need to double it up to make sure it's going to be big enough so that I can stamp my tree on top. So I'm going to try to put it flat here. Put that one just a little bit. I'm going to overlap it with my other strip of tape. Okay, I've got two strips there, and now I need to, there's two ways of doing this. You can use your arm, and you put it on your arm here, and you're going to take away a lot of the sticky side off, okay? You can use your arm, or you can also use any kind of fabric. Just put it down a few times. Do I have a rag? I have a rag. I could do it this way also. You know, you need to make sure it's not going to be sticky enough because we're going to put this onto our paper, and if it's still very sticky, well, the problem is we're going to tear our paper apart, and it's not the point. So do it. You know, it seems to be a bit, you know, it's not as quick as the other one I'm doing, if you know what I mean. Okay, I prefer doing this on my arm. Actually, I don't know why. It seems like I have more control. All right, and do it everywhere that your paper is supposed to touch, your tape is supposed to touch the paper. Right, now you're putting it still sticky side up. I'm going to take my tree again, my stamp, same ink, ink my tree, stamp on my tape, all right. I can see that I didn't stamp my trunk very well. Then you're going to take away your tape, and again we're going to do it, I'm going to do it side by side actually this time. I'm going to put my tape down, try not to move. Oops, I'm moving. Try to avoid wrinkles, and then tap, tap, tap a little bit. And now we can rub. And I can already see that I have more ink transferring onto my paper. Oops, I hope I was not too much. And now I am taking my tape. I am not pulling. I'm not pulling upwards. I'm really touching my paper when I do this, like backwards. And I'm touching the paper. And as you can see, I didn't rip it off. and I've got my image there, and it looks darker than the one that I use the acetate. So that's totally up to you which technique you want to use. This one is faster, and also, you know, you pollute less because you can reuse it over and over again. This one, you need to take more time, cut the pieces, put them together if your stamp is big like mine was, and then put it down. So it's really up to you. I think we need to practice a little bit. I think I would prefer this one because I don't have to do it over and over again. I just use the same piece of plastic and it works really well, but you need to be careful and not to move. So I hope you will try these techniques because they're going to make more out of your stamps because, you know, it's nice to think about other ways. I'm sorry. I'm losing my voice. It's nice to think about other ways to use up what you have, whether it's stamps or anything else, because it's more economical. And you have also more fun using them because sometimes you're bored with a stamp. It's just a tree. What am I going to do? I'm going to put a tree somewhere. But now you can imagine having water going in here. You can imagine maybe little birds on the water as well, or the reflections of the birds in the sky onto the water. So it really makes your imagination grow and think a little bit more. So please try these two techniques, and I'd love to read some feedback from you to see which one you prefer. But play with it a little bit before really seeing what you think. You might change your mind like me. I think I prefer that one, even though it's less precise, but you never know. I can change my mind again. I'm going to practice this more, and maybe not in the next video, but the one after, I will make a whole card using this technique and some blending with the inks as well. I need to find a nice scene and see what I have with what, you know, the stamps I have, and imagine something nice that I could show you. So maybe you have other techniques to do this. I thought this one was quite easy and not expensive. Maybe a lot of you have acetate, or, you know, maybe you can use some kind of packaging for this as well. It doesn't have to be acetate afterwards. You know, it's just plastic. And that's it. So please give me some thumbs up. If you have any other technique, please do share that with me on the comments below. And also, if you have any questions, any comments, please do so. I love hearing from you. And please share on social medias. It's important. And also, take care. And thank you very much for being here today. And hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.